China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back.
Well, the Panama Canal Authority is a state organization, but it's not part of the government. You know, we have a separation between what central government does and what the Panama Canal does. The institution was created by a constitutional title, so it has been fenced out from interference from central government and other agencies as well.
How are the fees that are set for the canal? And also, what is the role of the auctions that many ships will use to be able to get preferred passage into the canal?
We have a fee structure that includes three elements. One, water charge, because fresh water is what we use to operate the Panama Canal, and that's a very scarce resource. The second thing are tolls, which are essentially defined by vessel carrying cargo capacity. And those are being the tolls that have been instituted as part of the Panama Canal operations since we began operations more than 100 years back. Now, there is a third layer that depends on supply and demand, and that's when things get tricky. So there was an issue on how you decide who transits. Mm-hmm. And then we don't want to have that at the discretion of any individual, any executive at the Panama Canal. So the decision was that let's auction slots and then let the shipping companies decide how much they want to, when there is excess demand, how much they will willing to pay in order to get the slot. What happened last year? So we didn't have order. So instead of 36 transits per day, we were down to 24 transits a day. So there was an over demand or lack of supply. And then that boosted those prices up. You know, we had one case that was about $4 million just to get a slot.
What's the average price of those slots now?
About $200,000. You know, what we have received now in revenues is about 20% below what we had at the peak last year when we were in the middle of the water crisis. So we believe that is a situation that is a once in a lifetime. So it will not repeat it. And then we have introduced other mechanisms to assure that our customers have a string of reservations instead of having one by one by one by one.
There's been a lot of discussion in the United States about the role of China with regard to the port. Hutchinson, which is a Hong Kong-based company, operates a container port both on the Pacific side as well as on the Atlantic side.
Right.
How did those container ports interact with the canal and with the Panama Canal Authority?
Well, there are 5 container ports actually. On the Pacific side, you have Balboa, which is Hutchinson, and then you have PSA, which is a Singaporean company. And then in the Atlantic, you have SSA, which is an American-operated port, and then you have one by Evergreen and Cristobal, which is operated by Hutchinson. Because some of them are in canal waters, then the operations coming in and out from the ports is controlled and operated and regulated by the Panama Canal. And that is the extent of the relationship. None of the port operators have any say in the decisions that the Panama Canal make. And in the same fashion, they are independent from our operation, aside from the operation itself, bringing a vessel to port and bringing a vessel out to sea.